New York Governor David Paterson has signed legislation setting out the first steps in developing New York's 10 million acres of the Marcellus Shale formation. 150 miles south, Queens Councilman James Gennaro is trying to bar the drilling in 1 million of those acres, the area that holds the New York City Watershed, providing fresh water to 9 million people.
Those million acres that comprise our drinking water supply should have been excluded from the area within the state that is open to this kind of exploration and drilling. That was a colossal blunder that I feel that if it's not corrected will degrade the city's water supply.
The Marcellus Shale could be the largest natural gas find in the history of the United States, coming at a time when Americans are trying to find a way to cut their dependence on foreign sources of energy. To get at the natural gas, the industry has developed a method called hydrofracking. Water and chemicals are pumped into a wellbore at extremely high pressure, forcing natural gas to the surface. Industry consultants say the process is sealed and safe, with natural gas companies going to great lengths and expense to make sure the extraction is done in an environmentally friendly way.
It would have to go through multiple barriers of casing, cement, casing, cement, casing, cement. That would be pretty difficult.
If developed, industry experts say it could be a financial boon to upstate New York, which has been going through a tough recession. It's estimated that the Marcellus Shale would add $400 to $600 billion to the state economy, which includes gas royalties, and create more than 200,000 well-paying jobs. And if gas is found near the watershed, that's where the drilling will take place.
Well, the New York City Watershed is underlain by the gas, and if you want to produce the gas, you're going to have to drill there. There's plenty of sufficient reason to believe that those can coexist. The New York City Watershed and the needs to get the water to New York City, and the needs to produce the gas can coexist and do all over the United States.
Drilling around watersheds and underground aquifers is nothing new. In fact, there are thousands of wellheads near or in watershed areas all across the country.
Someone living in New York is really not any more important than someone living in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Well, the city of Oklahoma City has oil and gas drilling around its water supply, surface aquifers, has for many years, under it, horizontal wells under it, and there's many other instances of that same thing going on without problem, without incident, without human health problems, without risk effects, and so forth.
But Oklahoma City's water supply is quite different than the Big Apple's. It goes through a filtration plant. New York is one of only 5 cities in the country that has an unfiltered water supply.
If we come to the point where we're doing hydrofracking inside the confines of New York City's drinking water supply watershed, then the days of filtration avoidance are over.
And the councilman says if the city had to build a filtration plant, it would cost upwards of $20 billion. Unlike the other 4 cities that have waivers, people live within the New York City watershed. The EPA narrowly granted New York a filtration waiver in 1993 under the condition that development in the area stop. There are strict restrictions on construction and farming within the watershed. In fact, homeowners are banned from having paved driveways in fear it could affect the drinking water.
If it's difficult within the confines of New York City's drinking water supply watershed to even pave a driveway by virtue of a paved driveway is introducing more impervious surfaces and more runoff or whatever, and how can anyone realistically think that we could permit hydrofracking and the development of wellheads in that area?
But that argument against drilling has industry consultants saying the search for natural gas won't cause any more harm than other activities already going on in the New York City watershed.
Well, do we have gas stations in that watershed? Do we have people living in that watershed? Are there underground storage tanks in the watershed? Are there many other things that probably pose a much more significant risks?
Industry analysts say that if the state of New York becomes an unfriendly regulatory environment, Natural gas companies will simply move their operations to the other parts of the Marcellus Shale, and with it will go their jobs and their revenue. In West Hurley, New York, Lee Patrick Sullivan, Clean Skies TV News.